So very good evening to all the eminent panelists and all the people who are witnessing this great webinar. We are not being heard precisely because we don't speak. This is the quote of none other than Sir Govardhan Singh Jamwal sir. Jammu should have a voice from Jammu, and this was the need from a very long time. Brigadier Dr. Vijay Sagar Dheman has initiated this initiative just because he wants to fulfill this need. It's a webinar on progressive movement in Jammu and Kashmir from the past tense to the present perfect and the future definite is precisely because the voices from Jammu needs to be heard and the voices from Jammu needs to be taken seriously, and that's why this initiative has been taken today. We have all the eminent guests with us, and we are being heard by many people over social media, over YouTube, and we have created the whole platform digitally for this voice to be heard. Brigadier Dr. Vijay Sagar Dheman has been working digitally, and he is not stopping because of Corona or any sort of pandemic or any sort of things. We are working digitally just because we want this voice should be heard. So today's webinar is on progressive movement in Jammu and Kashmir from past tense to present perfect and future definite. And we are very blessed that we are having our convener with our eminent panelists with us. So I would like to hand over the mic to Brigadier Dr. Vijay Sagar Dheman to take it forward. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Varun. Thanks for giving a bit of an introduction about the very genesis of why we are here today. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to this particular platform, and it's a kind of a small little initiative from us to make sure that we all get a voice, and a voice is heard as a formidable one, an official one. And today, of course, I'm expecting certain friends from Gilgit-Baltistan and IIJSA also to join in, but maybe I think they haven't joined us yet, but in due course they'll be coming over. And another thing is Professor Virender Gupta is not coming because he's had certain corona positive cases in the family. So he was not in the right frame of mind. So he will not be joining. And Professor and Ambassador Parthasarathy would be joining us at 5:40. He unfortunately again, after getting both the shots, both the jabs, he's been again corona positive and he's recovering. But he's just given me a call that I should remind him at 5:40, and about half an hour he'll be with us and give us his comments and whatever he has to say about it. Now, before we go forward for today's proceedings, ladies and gentlemen, I just would want to sort of re-emphasize and put something into your memory that please, for God's sake, this second wave should not be taken lightly. And why the second wave has come, there are multiple theories which have come from the arms lobby, from the pharma lobby, or even for that matter, from the oil lobby in the world. Aim is to put Modi down, or India down for that matter. And maybe they have succeeded in doing that. But then we should not forget the majority of the responsibility lies with us, we individual citizens. We have not been using masks. In the month of February, we thought everything is over. We stopped using masks. We were not live about the social distancing at all. We were not following the norms of washing hands or using sanitizers, not touching your eyes, nose, or your mouth with your hands very often. I mean, all those guidelines were just thrown to the side. And that is a major sort of a point. And this has certainly created, we were a COVID-19 superpower till February, and we were helping the whole world. It was our vaccines which are going all over the world. Now that it is totally turned over. And imagine a country like Bhutan and Bangladesh giving us aid. I mean, this kind of a situation. And it has been aggravated by various people, maybe political groups, maybe religious groups or whatever. Gentlemen, please pass the message to everybody. At this time, we are in a war. We are war against Corona. We are war against China or whatever. If they are the one. Germany for that matter. The pharma lobby, the arms lobby, the oil lobby. We are at war with them. And we all have to be together as a nation. I mean, after the war is won, we can again have our own views, our own ideas, our own ideologies. But if we have to survive, it is our survival which is a danger. So Corona is a very vital thing. Kindly pass on the message to everybody, whatever you can. And I'm on record, online, live on Facebook and YouTube at this moment. People would be listening. I'm sure everybody is going to listen to what I'm trying to say. Not that I'm going to say some gospel words. They're just simple things. We have to make this, we have to go on the drawing board stage and come to the simple things to defeat this Corona. So please pursue this message, spread this message wherever. And secondly, thing is, yesterday, a day before yesterday, I also had a tragic incident. One of our postmates, Wing Commander Anup Mehrotra, gave up his fight against Corona. So that was quite as an ex-NDA postmate, it's a very close association, and I felt very perturbed about it. But then initially the thought came to mind that we should cancel this event. But then I said the best tribute that I would be giving to the departed soul would be giving him homage on this platform, on my IIJSA platform, that is International Institute of J&K Studies and Analysis. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would request you all to observe 2 minutes silence in the memory of Wing Commander Anup Mehrotra, who was a great guy and a great Air Force pilot and a wonderful human being, and today is no more with us. 2 minutes silence, please. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure God will bless his soul wherever he is, and for all others who have lost their near and dear ones, I have a great piece of sympathy for them, condolences to them, and I'm sure we will try and follow all the norms and make sure that we don't get affected by this, and because we have to win this war. And as regards today's webinar is concerned, I would like to tell you that this is appears to be a very simple subject, development of UT of JK. But then today, whatever speakers that we have with us, they have certain very different ideas at conceptual level, at working level. And that is why we chose the subject, because these things have not been spoken about. The potential of UT of JK or even Jammu in that case has not been acknowledged as yet. And from this platform, I'm making an attempt that we project ourselves in a manner that we are able to harness our potential, and whatever wrongs have been done by the political establishment or any other thing, they can be undone. And maybe whatever happened in the past, we need to forget that, and we have to go forward in a very dynamic manner. And that is why Professor Bhatia gave the punchline for this particular webinar. If you see, is the past tense, present perfect, and future definite. That means we definitely will improve. Whatever has not been done, the prosperity will come. Whatever deficiencies were there, they will be made up, and Jammu will be a formidable voice. Jammu Kashmir will be a formidable state. Some of us call it a Jammu Kashmir of Maharaja Gulab Singh. Somebody calls Jammu Kashmir of 1947. Somebody calls up Jammu Kashmir of 2019. We will decide which is our real heritage, which is our real inheritance, and what way we got to go through. So today we have very eminent personalities of Jammu, the eminent people from Jammu already present here in the panel as well, people sitting with you, and I welcome you all. And our first speaker today is, may I request Professor K.L. Bhatia, who is a constitutional expert, and he's traveled all over the world and is a known figure for his genuine views about the development of Jammu. So first speaker, I would request Professor Bhatia to kindly speak.
Thank you, Dr. Dheman and other dignitaries inviting me to initiate the discussion on this particular topic, this progressive movement in Jammu Kashmir from past tense to present perfect and future definite. Before August 2019, there was occasion when I used to write that Jammu Kashmir was past tense, imperfect, and future seemed to be indefinite. But today, the things have undergone a tremendous change. Now, I call it post-August 2019, a seamless web to achieving peace and progress in Jammu Kashmir Union Territory. There are reasons to that. There was a stage when there were 3 PPs, private pocket purse. We have seen this particular thing and all of you must have noticed it. And from these 3P, we have moved to 3P, public-private partnership. This is very important point to note. We have gone into the stage of IIMS, IITs. There was a stage when it was political card. Political card means deception, tricks, but now I don't say that deception has completely evaporated, but it has reduced, it has come down, it has been minimized. And now from tricks, we are towards progress, but that progress does not seem apparent, which is aspired to be in post-August 2019. It will take time because the spoiled things take time to improve and develop. And therefore, in my perception, when I have made these particular statements, there is a new constitutionalism. That's a new constitutional order. By this, your particular Constitution Order 272-2019, that deceptive 370 has been abrogated. But my friend Brigadier Dheman says in army language, de-operationalize, but in constitution language we say abrogation. Therefore, in Brigadier Sahab, in your language, de-operationalize is appropriate term in army language. 35A, which was introduced by Presidential Order 1954, and which I called as a rarest example of invisible hands of invisible state. There was no need for that. I have written comprehensively, time is short not to develop on that particular thing. But to me, it seems that this invisible hands of invisible state have been completely evaporated. And that is one of the brightest side of the thing. Another important thing is doing away with separate constitution of the then state before 2001. Was it essential? Was it imperative? Was it necessary to have a separate constitution in the federal structure of under the Indian Constitution? It was not required, but it was only at the behest of a few people who insisted on that. And what damages it created, what deception it created, that is well known to all. And therefore, in the present scenario, some politicians are playing a politicking to bring them back, but they should mind it that those things are gone once for all, they are now dead like a dead wood. So there are least chances of their revival, and they should not be revived at all. These are some of my few things. And now from that particular stage, deceptive stage, we have moved towards one constitution, which applies to the whole of Union of India, including the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. No separate constitution, it's only one constitution. Then one flag, tricolor, Indian tricolor. There was a time when the then Chief Minister of the state used to say, if you tinker with 370 or 35A, there would be no one to carry the tricolor flag in the valley, in the then state. And in this television discussion, joined with some of my good friends, we may have difference of opinion, but I insisted this tricolor flag shall be carried in the hands of those people who says that it would not be. They would start themselves from the valley, walk from valley to Kanyakumari, and that has happened. We have seen before our own eyes, and there are no two opinions about it. And then we are under this your particular federalism, complete federalism, where there is an interdependence of the states, including the Union Territory, and no independence from each other. I insist on my words. No independence. Is it not a progressive movement? And those who can't see it, I think they should come out of the sweet slumber and look to the realities. Another important point is, new constitutionalism has emerged in Union Territory, where these state laws have been repealed, all central laws are applicable. Wherever this Union Territory separate laws would be required, that the future legislative assembly would see to it. But under the present scenario, this is the position. Now, another important point is, some people are confounding the confusion with the word domicile. I am a student doing research comprehensively for the last 55 years on Constitution. There are world views. There are decisions of the Supreme Court of India that there is only one nationality, that is Indian nationality. There is one citizenship, that is Indian citizenship. And domicile emanate from nationality and citizenship. So therefore, there is one Indian domicile, like Indian citizenship, Indian nationality. There can be change in the residence. One may reside in one part of the country, another may reside in another part of the country. And according to Article 19 of the Constitution of India, every citizen has the fundamental right to settle and reside in any part or territory of the country, provided he follows the reasonable restrictions given under Article 19 to this particular. Not to indulge in anti-national activities, not to indulge in anti-social activities, not to indulge in those activities which may be jeopardized. Therefore, these are some of the reasonable restrictions which have to be followed. Otherwise, every citizen, including the citizen from the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, can reside, can settle in any part of the country. Similarly, any citizen from any part of the country can reside and settle in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Therefore, those who say that outsiders will come and settle here, I do not know what the problem is with it. Where from the word outsider comes. I have not come across in any act of the parliament or act of any state or act of any union territory which has passed. Where is the question of outsider? This is a very derogatory remark. Every person is a citizen of India, and if the citizens from the valley, I emphasize on my words, if the citizens from the valley can reside and settle in Maharashtra, in Gujarat, in Bangalore. Why the citizens of other parts of the country reside within the union territory? Why the people having this industrial approach to set up the industrial sector in the union territory? This will progress, this will generate employment, this will generate the economic growth of the union territory. So therefore, such words, outsiders, are very damaging and disaster. They should not be used. Another important factor, in my view, in my perception, is with regard to resettlement and rehabilitation of Kashmiri Hindus, including all other Hindus who were within the valley, but they were forced, they were compelled to leave the valley and come out of the valley. In their settlement, in their rehabilitation in Jammu, I have participated personally in that particular movement, and we have seen, starting from Sanatan Dhanam Sabha, that ground down, coming down to the stairs, putting them in different rooms, and in other parts, we have seen why they don't have the right to go back and resettle within the valley. This will create a balance in the population because there seems to be imbalance. And when there is an imbalance in the population, it creates a problem because it brings one-sided view and it does not bring the multiplicity of the views of different sections of the society. And if that has to happen for the progress of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, this particular population imbalance has to be removed in order to this particular bringing peace and this particular Indianization within the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, particularly in the valley. This is very important. There are some voices raised, let there be Jammu Declaration, but they don't use the word parallel to Gupkari Declaration. Those who are aware, those who have read, those who have studied what was Gupkari resolution, that was very damaging, going against the Constitution of India, going against the Indian nation state. And let such people, even politicians or thinkers, so-called thinkers, I underline so-called thinkers, from Jammu raise the voice, let Jammu be separated from Kashmir Valley. It's very damaging. And if Jammu Declaration carries a slightest reflection of this your particular Gupkari resolution, that would be damaging. That would be damaging because then it would be speaking the language of Gupkaris and old language of the first generation, where we have departed from this particular the democracy and this खानदानी जो होता है ना, खानदानी, this particularly legacy, उसको लेके चलना, I think that should not happen because they have this particular dream, separate from India, don't go across the border, live independent. What is this? And then they blame the then Maharaja Hari Singh, who acceded to the Union of India with the Indian mind. Let everybody should study the policy statement of Maharaja Hari Singh of 15th July 1946, where he said that I look forward for the forthcoming Constitution of India, and I feel that my state, then state, would be a part of that particular Constitution. That Maharaja Hari Singh had this great vision, and today they say that he created problem. He did not create any problem. Rather, those people who started these particular things, and now they also want to carry out the same legacy, and they save this particular the legacy. I think that should not happen within the Jammu region, separating Jammu from Kashmir and establishing separate Jammu state, that should never happen. They should change their mindset. They should change their language, because this would be a very the damaging, and this should not happen. And let Jammu Kashmir Union territories should continue. Time will come when those particular things which were made declaration in the houses of the parliament, and let that time come when this state is to regain. So long the things are going on peacefully, let there be union territory and let it develop, let it progress economically, educationally, industrially, infrastructure, and all those particular things. And also this particular, there's a tourism also, like Mansar Lake, Surisar Lake, and Sannasar near the Patnita. If these things come up, otherwise not least things in this particular area. Kishtwar is not least thing in this particular area. These particular things, because I have traveled in this particular area, they must develop these particular. This what is required in unification of Jammu Kashmir Union Territory, and let there be no Jammu declaration at any cost. And those persons from the Jammu region raise their voice. If they are listening to me, they should take a serious note of this particular, a cautious note of this particular, my perception. And I think all other participants may have, I do not know what are their views on this particular point. But this is from the nationalistic fervor, coming from my this particular soul, coming from my heart, and this thing must continue to be followed. Some of our areas have gone to POJK. Some people, they call it POK. It's not POK. Then we confined only to Kashmir. No, it is Pakistan occupied Jammu Kashmir. There is our religious place, established, founded, worshipped by Adi Shankaracharya, which is called as Sharda Peeth. What strategies? At the present moment, I don't have any strategy before me. I have not thought over this particular point, but maybe surgical operationalization, maybe that thing, or maybe some other thing, because dialogue across the border seems to be impossible, because they don't believe in dialogue. Otherwise, dialogue is the important thing in democracy, and which I call as a lifeblood of democracy. For those who across the border don't feel this particular soul or this particular thing, some strategic approaches. I request Brigadier Dheman Saab to arrange a separate webinar on this particular liberation of this particular Sharda Peeth, which is within POJK. And along with the Sharda Peeth, whole of the POJK comes within the fold of Union of India. That will not be a dream of a forehead. That would be a thing which would be seen in the near future. This is my feeling from the core of my heart, from my soul, and let us see. And when this separate webinar is held on that particular account, the personalities who would be participating in that in future, I think they may throw some light on that particular.
We'll surely do that, sir. We'll surely do that.
Thank you. So these are some of my perceptions on which I call it, there has hitherto been a progressive movement in the state, in the Union Territory of Jammu Kashmir, which shall be moving towards peace and progress continuously. And we shall watch for those particular things, what ideas I have in my mind, in my perception, that I have given vent to. And thank you very much indeed, giving me some time to reflect on those particular ideas. Thank you very much indeed to all of you.
Thank you very much, sir. You really lightened us with a lot of constitutional provisions and lots of myths which are being propagated by the politicians, various issues being used, words being used, cliches being used. I'm sure you sort of, elucidated in front of us in a very right manner. and I'm really thankful to you for your views. And I'm sure others are there, and maybe we'll have certain question answer session. We'll have some discussion with you. So now, before I go on to the next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome Ambassador Parthasarathy, who joined us in between. Probably fault was mine. I did not give him link on his mail, and that's why it got delayed. And as you all know, he's an eminent professional diplomat of some repute, which is of international repute, which you all are aware of. So he's here with us, and he's kindly consented to give his views on the progress of UT. And the eminent thinker, I have taken a lot of pride in saying he also is the Chancellor of the Central University of Jammu, of which I too am some kind of a faculty over there. So welcome, sir. Thank you very much. And we will listen to your views after we listen to General Govardhan Singh Dheman.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It's been.
May I now request General Govardhan Singh Dheman, sir, kindly give us your views about the development of UT or JK as you perceive it, sir. General Dheman, sir.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak about the development. I will talk about the development of Jammu because at present we feel Jammu, although the abrogation has taken place, and yet people are not happy, not satisfied about the development or what they were expecting would happen to them. Why so? And for this, we will have to go back because the problems have not started after abrogation. The problems were there right from 1947, and they went on multiplying because the central government never bothered about Jammu. That's why we had to have Gajendra Gadkar, Wazir Commission, Sikri Commission, all the commissions without any effect. Nothing happened. Then we started having various, like Mr. Vora came for 10 years, interlocutors. Why interlocutors? Because they knew that Jammu was not getting their due and the problem was Jammu. Why interlocutors? They were only to find out. They tried to find out, but they never either submitted their reports. I have been interacting with them for 20 years. I interacted personally with Mr. Vora for 10 years before he became governor. I told him all the problems. When he was governor himself, not a single problem could be sorted out. Therefore, the problems, in spite of everybody wanting to solve, have not been solved. That means there is something wrong. Problems are not being solved even today after 2 years of abrogation. And if this continues, the people of Jammu will not progress. We are not against anybody. In fact, we have conquered Ladakh, Gilgit, Baltistan. My regiment has done. Here is General Zorawar Singh. When I spoke about him in the Staff College, Wellington, when Manik Shah was in the chair, and I told him that if Napoleon was born after him, people of France would have called Napoleon the Zorawar of France, no less than France, Napoleon. But because he was a Dogra general, nobody bothered about him. Hardly a book was written about him. That is our heritage. That is our history. That is our problem of Jammu. We only do things, but we don't get a reward. We don't get anything. And that's what is happening. Otherwise, it was the status Jammu. Name of Jammu comes first. Jammu got conquered Ladakh, conquered Gilgit, conquered Baltistan, conquered part of Tibet, and it was known as Jammu, Kashmir, Ladakh, Gilgit, Baltistan, Tibet. That's what Jammu did. And the British gave us, sold Kashmir to us also. And what cleverly they did, they got all the money, whatever they had spent to win the Sikh wars, they got that money from Bala Gulab Singh, who gave everything, whatever, rupee by listening to the complaints of the people he had collected. He handed over everything. It took 3 years to pay to the British. That are the sacrifices made by the Dogras for making this state the only state across the high Himalayas. No one ever had done anything. Only the Dogras who went and provided this strategic depth to this state, created an empire which lasted even after the Sikh Empire was finished, even after the British Indian Empire was finished on 15 August. From 15th August to 22nd of October, the Dogra Empire was intact. It would have been integrated on 15th of August, thanks to Nehru and all others. It didn't happen. They keep on blaming Maharaj Hari Singh without looking at the four fingers are pointing at them. However, now we wanted to have, I have seen this. It all happened in front of my eyes. I'm 94 now, almost. I can recount 100 years in front of me I have seen. From those days when there was hardly any road, we lived in the villages. We went to World War I, World War II, never came back. The villages had only white chadar women, only widows. The men had died either in Gilgit, all in Chitral, or in World War I. Look at the number of sacrifices we have made. And now nobody bothers. Same thing was happening with Ladakh. Because Ladakh was added, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh name was not there in the state. Of course, that we had also probably omitted by mistake Ladakh, and that's what was happening. And now Ladakh has been separated, and I can tell you Ladakh will develop and it will become one of the best states one day of India and one of the best states of the world. I can predict this. Similarly, Jammu state, Jammu territory has also that capability, but if it remains like this as we have been for the last 72 or 73 years, then we will not progress. There will be no development. Whatever I have seen, I can count, there's not much time, I can count. I retired in 84, 37 years today, and I have been associated with the government. I was for 6 years a member of the upper house. I just didn't sit in the house and watched. No, I studied. For another 6 years, Jammu was never on the agenda. I have seen that. I can count, I can give you where the fault lies. And why we say Jammu will not progress with the or under the Kashmiris, can never. Because you can't import Jammu leadership. Jammu leadership is like that. I have seen it. Tell me which leader has done good for us. Which leader? And these leaders will continue. Now you will say that what is the guarantee if Jammu has its own status that they will do what they should do? Well, they will do that. They did before Kashmir became part of that. And they created a unique state which no one had ever thought of or creating it. But when they became part of Kashmir, thereafter they have been in trouble. Right from 1846, they have been in trouble because of Kashmiris and Kashmiris. Whatever language you can do, whatever philosophies you can tell, but the fact remains that Jammu Dogras, and I say Dogras, all the Muslims, all the Sikhs, all the people from Punjab, wherever they came, when they live in the land of the Dogras, they are Dogras. In my battalion, you remember, when on the 22nd October, on the 21st, 2nd October, my 50% half battalion was killed by my own Muslim brothers. My Hindu brothers were killed. On that night, one officer, Munir Hussain from that area, he was sleeping in my room under Maharaja's army in Srinagar, in Badami Bagh. That was our Dogras, but what happened? Because the British created this. And Scott was the problem with us. And I have seen this, I was there, we know, we couldn't speak up. We couldn't give the stories, but we couldn't give the truth. Now the time has come, thank God Modi ji got the truth of our Indian National Army and Subhash Chandra Bose, otherwise they would have remained and lost. The truth here is also very different. You people don't know. Once that truth you know, then you will understand what is what. Otherwise, Jammu will never develop. And we are not against Kashmiris. Kashmiris are our brothers. We are together. We got Kashmir. We paid for it. How much money? We paid everything, whatever we had earned. Paid for, although they say we have bought it and throw them out. What is this? We bought the Kashmir, but we forgot that, and first name we always call Kashmir. My unit was called Kashmir Infantry. जम्मू का नाम ही भूल गए थे. वो तो 10 साल के बाद जम्मू का नाम वापस आना शुरू हुआ. Otherwise it was called Kashmir Infantry, Kashmir Maharaja. But Kashmiris never owned us. You know what Sheikh Abdullah did? We are suffering. Even Sheikh suffered for doing injustice to the Dogras. Farooq suffered, Umar suffered, Mehbooba suffered. They will suffer because they have been not kinder to us. Now look at, I being a member of I'll tell you the problems. In front of my eyes, I was a member of the Rajya Sainik board with the governor. A proposal came from us, from Kashmiris, that we must have a colony for the ex-servicemen and soldiers who retire at Srinagar. And Farooq Abdullah was in the chair as a chief minister in the Rajya Sainik board. He said, yes, you must have a colony in Srinagar. He said, find out the place. He went and Omar Abdullah came as the chief minister. He said, you have it next to the JKLI center, next to the airport. It's on record, minutes. Then he goes, Mehbooba comes. Then somebody asked him, how can you have a colony there? How will you stop Indian officers or Indian veterans taking a plot there? How will you stop it? वो तो बुखला गई. उसने कहा, who says there is a colony coming? It's not coming. And she knows, she was the chief minister. It was a government decision taken by the chief minister. So this is what happens because they thought Indian ex-servicemen will come and settle down in Srinagar. For that reason, till today, there is no colony. Well, this is how they treat us. I can tell you a dozen examples, mind-boggling. Total discrimination, no money allotment. They asked that you make this. We don't have the plots. My generals are retiring. They have no plot. So we said, I went to the army commander, Advanavan, who became chief. He said, Jan Sahab, I'll speak to Farooq Abdullah. He had just after 6 years of governor rule, become the chief minister, the government. And I was also a member with him as a MLC. Then army commander told him that the ex-servicemen of this whole state are there. They are your people. You have not given them one plot. He said, I can't build. I have no money. He said, okay, money will come from the ex-servicemen. He said, land I will give. Believe it. That was in 1997 March at Rudhampur. He did Padmanabhan did the big rally. 6,000 people from Banihal to Lakhanpur and Punch. He brought them 600 widows and promised them, I'll give you these 2 colonies called the Kargil Vihar and Rajendra Vihar. And believe me, today, 22 years, not one house has come. I gave 35 crores of rupees to DC Jammu and Samba 20 years ago. And they haven't given me even the interest of that 20 years. This is what happens with Jammu ex-servicemen who are giving. I get a telephone at night from the Seyachin. Sir, मैंने प्लाट के लिए 15 साल हुए तो मेरे बाबा ने लिया था, 10 साल हुए तो मेरी माँ भी गई थी, 5 साल हुए तो मैंने भी किया था, प्लाट नहीं मिल रहा है. Can you believe it? This is J&K. And this is Jammu. We can talk in the university, we can talk in the seminars, but unless things are delivered, people will never believe it. But Dogras are two good people. I think they have accepted it. If it were Kashmiris, I don't know what they would have done. They would have done some kind of revolts which you wouldn't have seen. We have done nothing. Nobody even speaks. Even now we will say that no, Kashmiriyon ke saath hi rakhna. Bhai raho, unko dur nahi rakho, but you take care of your people also. Our people have gone abroad. Jammu people are not staying here now. They've learned from Kashmiri Pandits. They are leaving Jammu, they are leaving Kashmir, and those who are a little better educated, I can tell you, I am living here in Jammu. They have no future. So it's all right talking, but Kashmir chala jayega. Jammu Dogra ne chhod di. Mujhe even one day I told the President of India, Shankar Dayal Sharma ji, I said, we had industry that is finished. He said, kyun? I said, nobody is interested. Kashmiris are not interested in the industry. They are interested in fruit and saffron and their this walnut and pepper mashi. So they are doing everything is fine. Jammu, nobody is bothered. So he said, no, how can it happen? I said, you will see. And today, industry, there is no industry in Jammu. Absolutely no industry. But in Kashmir, the fruit was 1,000 tons in 47, 19 lakh tons last year, and 20 lakh tons this year, which has finished. 1 lakh ton is increasing every year in Kashmir. 20 lakh tons, only one item. Where is Jammu? Where is Jammu fruit? I've been trying to get even Shivaliks. Mata Vaishnu कृपा है 1 करोड़ विजिटर आते हैं, मांगते हैं कि हमें भी कुछ दो, कैन वी हैव समथिंग. देयर इज नथिंग एक्सेप्ट सम सांबा के वो भल्ला लेके चले जाते हैं. वी हैव नॉट बीन एबल टू. आई पुट अप ए प्रोजेक्ट. आई रोट ए watershed type Shivalik project, 300 crores during the Jan Krishna Rao's time. Saklani was the advisor, and I had a very good the Sardar Son Singh. He was the chief conservator or the principal chief conservator retired. He was my advisor in my Paryavan Sasta. 300 crores project. When I submitted to the government, they liked it so much. They said this must be made 500 crores and sent to the government of India. It was done. Government of India sent it to Japan. Japan accepted it, that we will transform the Shivaliks from Ravi to Rajouri into a world-class green oasis. But we exploded the bomb next year, and Japan withdrew, and the project is still lying in the Ministry of Forest. Till today, I've been trying to find out. Thereafter, there has been no project at all. And now the time has come. We have started growing some wonderful summer apples. It comes within 1 year. And we have already planted few thousands, even in Rashtrapati Bhavan, in Raj Bhavan. Within 1 year, the fruit comes. The apples, the apricot, the plums, and I tell you, from Ravi to Rajouri, we get in the Shivaliks 140 centimeters of rainfall. Within 2 hours, it is across the border. We have made no arrangement in 72 years, no watershed, no water harvesting, no nothing. We had about 1,500 ponds. When I was a young boy, I had 1,500 ponds. When I joined the service, they were still there in 47. When I retired, half of them had gone. And by last year, almost all have gone. This is what our progress we have made in water harvesting in Jammu region. And naturally, without water, you can't grow anything. In fact, with the modern technologies available, we should have converted the whole of Shivaliks into a rainwater harvesting with the structures, gully plugging, no water to be allowed to get out of the Shivaliks, and you will see the apples, fruit, and your 1 crore market of Mata Vaishno Devi is begging. There are 40,000 people every day from Pathankot to Jammu, and 40,000 going back to 1 lakh tourists, 1 lakh pilgrims are on my roads of Jammu. I have nothing to give to them. They will go to Srinagar, they'll get everything. But Jammu, no, because Jammu leaders do not know even how to talk. Tell me one leader of these, well, I won't name anybody. Any leader has done anything for Jammu. One thing, tell me. And these will be the leaders who will remain with those people. The same thing will happen. What happened to Himachal? If so far they were in Pakistan with part of Punjab, nothing. But they left Punjab, they're one of the finest states. Now Jammu itself, something we have started growing apples. Kashmiris may not be able to grow mangoes. We have got such a wonderful land, all climates, all type of land, all type of weather, plenty of water. Chenab, this even Jhelum comes in with us, and even Ravi is from us, and that is our water, and we are still starving because we have no control on ourselves. So development cannot take place unless you have your own control with the government. So I think things are very clear. I will never agree anymore that Jammu must remain part of Kashmir. Credit goes to Thupson, my friend. He knew how to sacrifice. He resigned as member of parliament, and he got the state, a union territory. We got nothing.
Thank you, sir. I think we short of time.
Okay, I suppose I have made it clear that Jammu needs a development, and Jammu will never be developed by Kashmiris. Once we develop, Dogras are very good, very hospitable people. We will take care of the Kashmiris. We will look after them, but we no more with them. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, General Nawal sir. You gave your candid views and you sort of propounded them very explicitly, and we really respect your views and the suggestions you've given about growing apples, etc., and the Shivalik belt, wonderful ones. I'm sure government will be looking into it. As we all know that that area next to Central University, Jammu, we already have an apple orchard there, started by that Baba Sai Bandagi, and it's a wonderful fruit, and the timing is also different. I'm sure we can do it much more for conservation of water and get other fruits as well, sir. Sir, thanks for your views, sir. And now may I request Ambassador Parthasarathi, sir, please kindly give your concluding remarks, and then we'll have a question answer session.
Well, thank you very much. That's very kind of you.
What has happened 2 years ago is irreversible. Jammu and Kashmir will form a state with all the autonomy available to other states in India. The whole question of giving a separate status to any part of India in a constitution of a united India, to me, was somewhat repugnant. Now, the fact is that Jammu and Kashmir is so rich minerally, materially, within a united India without all this rubbish of a special status. Please believe me, you will beat the rest of most parts of India in competition. This whole business of living within India and not being fully a part of it, I think the greatest thing which has happened is that has ended. And you will find, like we found in Tamil Nadu, that the moment the states were given certain rights, especially in industry and economy, they grow. So as I see it, Jammu and Kashmir is set to grow economically. Right at the moment, the Pakistanis have been silenced by world opinion. General Bajwa realizes that without American and Saudi money, they can't function. And therefore, the army is playing along with what others want. So we are in for a good time, but really ultimately, talking of a separate Jammu and separate Kashmir does not do national unity any good. I'm sorry, but that's a blunt opinion. Yes, you can have regional autonomy. That's for the states to decide. And it depends on the allocation of resources. But what has now been done with the abrogation of Article 370, I think is irreversible. One more point. How are you going to deal with Pakistan? I think there was a formula worked out. It seems my internet connection may be unstable. Yeah, this is the best. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the most important point was, if you go through a speech Dr. Manmohan Singh delivered in Amritsar, where he said borders cannot be changed, but they can be made irrelevant. I think most people are looking at that sort of movement ahead. Right now, I don't think the Pakistanis have the wherewithal. We'll have to wait till summer to see if infiltration picks up. But they would face huge pressure if that happens. And therefore, I think what you have for Jammu and Kashmir is an opportunity to focus on development. And people in Jammu and Kashmir, whether it is Valley or whether it is Jammu, they are enterprising. They have faced the world. And I think what I look forward to in President's rule is being focused on better governance, greater unity between the two parts of the state, and working for the common good. It is going to be difficult. Right now, with the COVID, nothing much is going to move. But the very fact that the Pakistan army was the one which called for the ceasefire has its own meaning. Are they going to get involved in a two-front war? I can't say. But thank you for inviting me. And all I'm saying is, as I see it, The abrogation of Article 370 is perhaps the most revolutionary move we've made since independence. And I'm certain that given their dynamism, the people of Jammu and Kashmir will do very well to take it forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Really grateful that you've given your views and we really enlightened with your views. And we've had the other speakers as well. The paucity of time, so we shall straight away go into the question answer session. So may I request all participants, all those who are interested in asking questions, kindly raise your hand.
Questions?
And the question can be directed to any of the speakers, and anybody free to come in the discussion at any point, at whatever point of the choosing. Yes, sir, Suresh Chandra, sir. Professor, sir, please ask the question, sir.
Thank you, Brigadier sir. We have been hearing all these things for a pretty long time and repeating the same thing many times. But what I find, the theme of your talk today was the development of UT. I find the development cannot be there unless it is in the minds of the people. If you live in a gutter, you develop a gutter mentality. I'm sorry to say, if you have ever traveled into the so-called minibuses in Jammu, you will understand. There is nobody who questions them. They are wasting their own money. They go and stand for 5 minutes at one stop, and another stop, another 5 minutes. The whole journey takes more than 30-40 minutes by stopping only. They are wasting the fuel. I do not know what mentality it is. The number of passengers are constant. If the bus comes and stops like the DTC bus or any other bus in the any other state, fine. The passengers will be there and they will sit on that. But what they do is, they come crowd the roads, and if you have ever sat on that their buses, the so-called seats for two people. Believe me, two people cannot sit together. There's no space. If you have got that thing, I don't think I see any chance of improvement, because we are not thinking of improvement ourselves. For that, you don't need the government permission. I do not know whether you are able to hear me.
Yes, please, we are.
We cannot. So problem is with us. Unless we, what you call, assert our own self, why these silly buses should be there? Perhaps we do not mind it because most of us travel in our own cars. I had an occasion to travel in those buses many times. So this mentality has got to change of our own people, and that needs an education. Education at every, we should protest. That's what I think Vajpayee used to say. We should not accept protest. So we do not protest. And then we expect that somebody else will come and do for us.
Please ask questions, sir. Questions, sir.
That's what I'm telling everybody. Everybody has suggestions. But we do not ask ourselves what we did. We did nothing. So what I am trying to say is, we have to educate our own people, or rather get educated ourselves. And only then, I think Major General Jamwal Sahab said, people are leaving Jammu. Why only Jammu? Elsewhere also, people go outside because they get a better quality of life. If you have a better quality of life in India, or many, for example, in Bangalore, people are very happy with the quality of life. So we have to work for quality of life to start with Jammu city and elsewhere. For that, no money is required. Only we have to change the mindset. And for that, the universities can play a bigger role. And as you mentioned, Ambassador Partha Sahab is perhaps the Chancellor of the Central University Jammu. I think he can initiate that thing, that we teach many things. We don't teach these things. That you look after yourself. That's all I want.
That's wonderful, sir. Very good thought. I see Danyal sir giving a lot of smiles. Sir, would you like to respond, sir?
Thank you, Brigadier Sahab. I don't want to get into a debate on what actually our learned panelists have said. But I entirely agree with General Govardhan Singh Jamal. I wish somebody had spoken about the Jammu identity. Professor Bhatia is literally our professor, is a constitutional guru. Whatever we have gained after 5th October 2019, we are just looking where is our identity. Jammu had been irrelevant earlier, and Jammu continued to be irrelevant politically today. Even the administration here, local administration, the Lieutenant Governor's administration, is totally, apathetic to Jammu's small demands, small issues. They don't want to respond to those things. In a political dispensation, whatever bad they were, I don't hold brief for them, at least they were there to raise voice. They could go and talk to people. The officers don't listen to them. And secondly, I think Professor Bhatia has said that industrialization will be more, and it should be more. But the problem is that look at this pace and their strategy. It took more than 1 year to announce the industrial policy. And now for the last 2 or 3 months, they have announced and approved land allotment policy. And still people are not, even a department is not aware, how do we go about it?
Can I interject here?
And just a minute, let me complete it. Now, another tragedy is that the person who has formulated the policy, who is well versed with everything, he shifted after the policy is approved. A new man has come, he will now handle it. Yes.
अभी मेरे मित्र कह रहे थे कि हमारी कोई सुनता नहीं, सब सुनता कोई नहीं है, सुनाना पड़ता है। अगर कोई सुनता नहीं है तो ये हमारी कमजोरी है। लद्दाख की सुनी जाती है, कश्मीर से वो अंदराबी है बीजेपी की स्पोक्स पर्सन, वो जाके यूनियन मिनिस्टर से पास जाके अपना प्लान देती है, यूनियन मिनिस्टर उसकी बात सुनता है। जम्मू का ना कोई बंदा जाता है, ना जम्मू के बंदे की बात सुनी जाएगी। Unless you assert yourself, nobody is going to listen. ये चीजें प्लेटर पे कोई नहीं देता है, आपको लड़ के लेनी पड़ती है। ये याद रखिए।
Professor, I am not talking on that. What actually Ladakh got it is a different story. They got it, they agitated as one unit. Right. All political parties merged. What Thupsan Chiwang has done, he led the entire Ladakh movement.
I know.
No. Here, where is the leadership? I'm talking about leadership. I'm not talking about myself. I'm a retired civil servant. You don't expect me to go and raise a slogan outside the...
I didn't mean it.
I'm saying...
I wanted that the Jammu people should be energized to raise their voice.
Whom? By the political party, political leadership.
No.
Whom we live, no. What else?
No, retired person like you and me can be catalyst.
We are writing articles.
Article कोई नहीं पढ़ता श्रीमान.
Lacking issues.
मैं भी लिखता हूँ, कोई नहीं पढ़ता, I know it.
नहीं. Oh, it is for the government to look at it. All those
government कभी नहीं देखेगी साहब, आपको देखना पड़ेगा. ये मेरी बात सुन लीजिए.
Okay, then we are not on the same wavelength.
And I will tell you. Just a minute. President Reagan once said, the government is not the solution, government is the problem.
Okay, that is we are facing the problem. Second is the
government is the problem.
Professor Bhatia, I want to comment on 2 issues, if you allow me. I know in a debate we have taken more time. He referred to abrogation.
Yes, sir.
I think abrogation for a constitutional expert is not an appropriate word, because 370 still exists in the Constitution of India. The 370 has not been removed from the Constitution. It's been a different text. So restructuring of 370 had taken place. And the second is on the domicile. He linked it with the citizenship, one citizenship. Even when we had a state subject, Even then, we had a one citizenship. There was no two citizenship. State subject was not granting us citizenship. It was a certificate that you are a permanent resident. Today we have a domicile, we are living here. So it is nothing to do with this citizenship of the country. That was one, and that's all I heard.
May I request Professor Shalini Rana kindly speak whatever you've been telling us in the chat box.
Namaskar to Govardhan Singh Jamwal sir also. He has done a lot to, unite the youth of Jammu especially. But we cannot, blame only the past or, the governments. Jammu people, first of all, they will have to come together and we will have to mobilize the youth. It's no use, talking about the mistakes of past. We'll have to now look about the solutions. And I'm sure the government must have, thought some good plans about Jammu after abrogation of 370. But maybe because of the COVID situation, everything went, out of hands. So I'm hopeful. On my part, I'm trying to unite the youth of Jammu region. At least they should know about their identity. In the past few decades, they have forgotten what they were and what they were supposed to be. I mean, we are not in sync with the kind of developments that has taken place in other states of India. And that is all what I wish to say. And please, publicize your programs well in advance, so that, because I saw the participants were very less and some important discussion were going on. So I think please involve the youth, the university, college students, the mature students, so that, they understand what are the problems which are there, and they can, play their part. It is time for the youth, to come forward. Thank you. That is all I wish to say.
Can I have Ramesh Chandra Singh and Dotra talking? Ramesh?
Hello.
Yes. Yeah, he is another person who's lived outside Jammu for a long time and enjoying the. Yeah, Ramesh, please give your views.
Can you listen to me?
Thank you very much for this lucid arrangement where I could hear a lot of old timers and this thing. Though I said I am disconnected at the moment because I stay outside the country, but I do visit Jammu quite often, and one of the things which I noticed during my visit last month was that people need to get educated in terms of, if you want to have something good, then you need to get out of your old habits of not paying bills, not having electricity meters, not paying toll tax, not getting vehicles registered. I found a lot of people saying that, the new rules have come. These are actually making things worse for us. But I think we need to educate ourselves that if we need development, if we need something better, then we need to get out of our, that mindset that everything has to come to us free. It will not come. And I agree with the other participants, views that the younger generation needs to get together to understand what the problems have been and find a solution. We just can't browbeat, our history and say we were like this, we are not like this thing. To move forward, we need a leadership, may not be political. You're doing a good job. I think the word needs to spread. People need to get together. They need to understand. They need to travel outside the state and see how things are happening and imbibe good, policies, good etiquettes and things like that. We, as a Dogra dynasty, we have a lot of good history, but unfortunately, the political dispensation and the other issues, our friendly neighbor on the other side has made things worse for us in the last 72 years. So I thank you for giving this opportunity for people to get together and share their views. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ramesh. Thanks a lot for seeing you after almost 40 years. It was a pleasure seeing you here. Kanika, are you there?
Yeah, I really agree with what was said before, that if quality of life and if the opportunities in India, in J&K were the same as what I have in Switzerland, one wouldn't have to travel out. The sort of research that I can do here There's no way I could have done it in India. And I tried. I actually tried. I went to a local university. I tried.
You traveled out because your father sent you out, not that you wanted to go.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say, is that self-sufficiency is very important. And in India, we have, because of the way our society is, which is not a bad thing, we have this sort of dependence on someone else. We feel that if someone else has done it, hence we can do it. If nobody else has done it, we can't do it. So self-sufficiency is an important point, and self-reliance is a slightly different issue than that. So if youth learn to be self-reliant, if they learn to stay where they are and basically make a life for themselves with whatever resources they are there, I think the skill set automatically improves, the quality of life and the general being of the area improves. So I think that is what the youth of Jammu should be pushed to do, to be self-reliant, to do something of their own, to decide that yes, we have the skill, we have the intention, and we can. And there are certain policies that help you with that. I'm sure with banks, with entrepreneur bodies there's definitely a way to go about it, and there's definitely something to do about it. So for me, it would be really cool to see the youth of Jammu and Kashmir to come up and that we stay where we belong. We've been educated, we are at a certain level, and hence we can go forward as well. So all the industrialization, all the healthcare of this region should come from there. Nobody else needs to come out and help. The only way to move forward is to help yourself. And I hope that they do that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Kanika. Thanks for telling us. We have Professor Suresh Chandra sir raising hands. So what do you have to say, sir?
I will tell you about 2-3 years back. If I think any people living in Jammu and those who have lived, the Jammu-Srinagar highway is blocked for a number of days every year because of the landslides. And landslides occur all over the world. And there is a science has been developed to predict the landslides. 2 years back, I wanted that the study center for landslides be made at Jammu, met a couple of professors of the university. And I had contacts with the people, the world famous people, who had their own models, and they had the landslide thing. I was ready to spend my money for that. But unfortunately, I could not find the people or the administration who would support it. And incidentally, there is one what we call as smell and understanding the, let's say, the milk products coming from Jammu. There is a technology which will tell me that the milk is from Jammu or from somewhere else. The kaladi is from Udhampur or imported from somewhere else. There is an excellent lab in Australia, and the in charge of that lab is the grandson of Professor, I'm forgetting the name. He used to be the leader of opposition in the when Congress was formed, and he was ready to help us. We thought that we can set up a mini, what you call, a laboratory here, but he said that the mini laboratory will not function. And that laboratory will cost about 12 crore rupees and will function 24 hours a day, and will have the capacity to have about, let's say, about 12 to 15, what you call, research scholars who will be working day and night. This is the kind of laboratories which are there, and they can earn money also. The pharmaceutical industry needs it, and the other industries need it. And since Ambassador Partha Sarthi is here and is the chancellor of the this university, I can give him the project, and that that CSIR lab in Australia is willing to give all the what you call technical collaboration, and their people will also can come here, and our people can go and get trained there also. But the question is where to get it done. And since I'm happy that Partha Sarthi is here, maybe he can take the project forward. I've got the complete project with me.
Thank you very much, sir. I think we run out of time. I would request a last speaker, Ravi Bhushan Gupta, who's a devout Dogra, a brainy guy, eminent thinker, and an absolutely rational guy. May I request Ravi to kindly give your views before we close the session?
Thank you, Vijay. Sometimes you need to have friends like you to keep your ego boosted and life going on. Thank you very much. I am Vijay's course mate from NDA. So that's enough for me to say that I am from the Indian Army. I belong to Jammu. And certain things which I want to bring to the notice, I don't have a question, Vijay, per se, but I know I have met the Lieutenant Governor, Mr. Murmu last time. I was called by him. They heard about, I currently head a company called as Rural Shores, wherein we generate or create employment in the rural areas, right? Currently, I have 13 BPOs, and we do this by setting up of BPOs in tier 4, tier 5 towns of India. And today I have about 2,000 people in South India and also to UP and Gujarat. So when we wanted to set up, the first point which I'm making is, I was called by the governor, we presented our plan. He said, let's do it. You know, we can do about 200 people under one roof for the rural people. But when we got to execution part of it, trust me, it's all optics at the bureaucracy and also at the people. They don't even understand. And I told Mr. Murmu, I said, Mr. Murmu, your administration people need to be changed. They need to run with your pace. They need to run with your thinking. He says, Colonel, that is the problem. So that is one of the biggest drawback in Jammu, that our own people sitting in that administration are not interested. We need to make them interested for the future generation of this state as such. And like somebody mentioned, I think General Jamwal mentioned, all the brilliant kids of Jammu are either in USA, Europe, Australia, somewhere, and I have my own nephew sitting in US and France. So we need to create employment. Second point I have is, I want you guys to just think yourself to be standing on Tavi Bridge, facing Bage Bahu. Now with Tavi behind you, Bage Bahu in front of you, and the beautiful curve it takes to Mubarak Mandi, and then meanders and goes to Nagrota, and then you look at Mata Vaishno Devi, the peaks of that Trishul. I tell you, there's nothing better than in the world than this particular view. This particular meandering of river Tavi and the Tavi proper can be beautified in such a beautiful way that it can be a Switzerland, I'm telling you. Let Jammu people wake up and admire this particular piece of land, the piece of water body which we have, and develop. We say there are, we get mired into this, admire it, give the plan, and get some people from outside to even fund it. Like somebody was just mentioning some foreign people who can come and donate, get some project sanction. I think get hold of the governor, he will definitely play the ball. The third point I have is, you have so much of if you don't have the orchards of Valley, you don't have tomato, what do you call, saffron or apples and peaches of Ladakh and the beauty of Kashmir. I'm sure you can build it. It takes time. Basoli, you have a Theen Dam, make resorts, get tourism there. You have everything south of Banihal, you can build it. But for heaven's sake, do something. Do something. I'm sure the dairy projects can be, Amul has done wonderful job. Why can't we do it? I'm not getting into the industry per se, because industry basically comes to Jammu to get the tax benefits, and when the tax benefits are over, they move on. That is a non-starter, by the way. The only thing which can work there, the only thing which you have is the boulders, the concrete you can sell. That you can sell, nothing else. Otherwise, these people will come and go. I think let's generate what we have, employment through that, and economy of Jammu has to be raised through this thing. Thank you, Vijay.
Thank you, Ravi. Thanks a lot for your insight. Yes, Kanika, you want to say something?
Yeah. Hi, Ravi uncle, first of all. Good points. This is also what I wanted to say, essentially. So the question is, why doesn't this happen in Jammu? Why don't people in Jammu get up and get going and get all of this done? What stops them?
it's the leadership. What General Jamal mentioned, there are too much of self involved. It needs sacrifices. It needs a push.
No, forget about the bureaucracy. Forget about the bureaucracy. Why doesn't the average Jammuite just get up and
I'll
leave?
tell you.
Ravi ji, can I interject? Ravi
Please,
ji?
sir. Please, sir.
You are talking about this Tavi River. What a wonderful sight it is. Probably you don't know, during Congress rule, a pond was taken up for ponding of the Tavi water was started. And it has now almost 10 years ago. Tavi Lake. And now, last 3 years, this government, this administration have tied up with the Sabarmati people, Sabarmati riverfront. They have signed with an MOU, and nothing has started in 3 years. That's what I'm talking. We are talking big. You think we don't know anything. Things have taken place, but when it comes to Jammu, nothing is implemented expeditiously. That's a problem.
I'm with you, sir. If things could happen,
that is a problem when people outside they think we are committed to the nation. Governor Singh and advisor, this ambassador has said, Jammu or Kashmir, let them remain one. But we can't be subjugated by Kashmir. We have been subjugated for the last 70 years.
Sir, I'm with you, sir.
And Delhi has not recognized Jammu. And right from the day from Constitutional Assembly, when this amendment was made in the Constitutional Assembly to for nominating 4 members of the Jammu and Kashmir by the Maharaja on the recommendation of the Prime Minister, a member from Bihar pointed out, you are mentioning Kashmir, whereas its name is Jammu and Kashmir.
Sir, I fully agree with you. What I'm trying to
state of here. No.
Absolutely, sir. I'm with you.
We Jammu people are hurt.
Sir, just allow. I'm with you, sir. Allow me.
That we have to face, we have to cry, we have to raise our voice. That is the problem.
Sir,
General Governor Singh has spoken our sentiments.
I'm absolutely with you, sir. What I'm trying to say is that we ourselves are responsible for this. Initially, you could say it's not happening because of Sheikh Abdullah, Farooq Abdullah, Umar Abdullah, and Mufti. But today you have a governor rule, which is central government, and they must look after the interest of Jammu. Because
for us, there is no change.
Absolutely.
एक मिनट रवि जी से बात कर सकता हूँ?
Okay, sir.
रवि जी, पता नहीं जम्मू में आप आए तो तवी के किनारे एक मंदिर बना है।
हाँ जी।
जिसमें उन्होंने 4 धाम का क्या कहते हैं रेप्लिका भी बनाए हैं।
हाँ जी।
और वहां से बड़ा सुंदर नजारा आता है। अब आजकल उसको लोग हर की पौड़ी भी बोलने लगे हैं। And you will be surprised that temple has been established by an illiterate person from Maharashtra.
Sir.
With the funds which he collects from Maharashtra, he doesn't collect much money from Jammu people. Jammu people have donated certain money, but most of the money has come from his own collection, by his own efforts from Maharashtra. He's an illiterate person. He cannot write anything. And he has all the people working with him, and they are also not from Jammu minded. Because incidentally, I went there and I asked them, the persons who are working with him, they are from Haldwani and Kicha in Uttarakhand.
Sir, I'm with you, absolutely with you. I'm just saying, forget about the old dispensation. Today you have.
That's what I said. You are आके कर रहे हैं, जम्मू का आदमी नहीं कर रहा है, बाहर का आदमी कर रहा है.
आप बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हैं. हमारे जितेंद्र सिंह साहब वहां बैठे हैं, प्राइम मिनिस्टर के साथ में चलते हैं. I mean, I don't understand why he cannot convince that. Why can't he have the drive? All this time you've been only talking about subjugation. These people must be made accountable. Mr. Jitendra Singh must be made accountable as to why projects not taking off.
Having your point taken, I see a journalist here, Captain Murthy Gupta, who's been very, curiously watching you all, listening to you. So, Captain Murthy, sir, can we have your last word?
Good evening, Brigadier Dheman and all the panelists and the speakers. This is my first webinar I have attended, and I've been listening to the valuable comments put forward by various speakers. I went into media about 11 years back. So all these 11 years, I have been associated with at least about 15 groups which have tried to do something for Jammu. But to our bad luck, nothing happened so far. We have a very prominent panelist with us who could be heard. That is Mr. Samyal from Chandigarh. He is very keen to develop a small group in Jammu. And I have been working on this for the last about 2 months. But trust me, Brigadier Saab, I haven't been able to collect a team of about 10 people who would like to contribute to Jammu selflessly, tan man dhan se. So I wish you all the luck, and I wish all the luck to the panelists. And I'm always there with the cause of Jammu. I shall be fully involved. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Captain Murthy Gupta. Gentlemen, he runs Greater Jammu newspaper and a video channel, news channel, and doing well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we had a wonderful discussion, and a lot of views have been given by most of the people, and they've been ranging right from politics to constitutional provisions, to your horticulture, to your tourism, to our unity as a Dogra identity, our communication with the government in the center, government within, with the Kashmiris. All these things have been touched, and a lot of important issues have been thrown up, and a lot of things we must ponder upon and introspect for ourselves. So biggest question I think has come is that we should introspect. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we sign off, I would once again request you, remind you that we are in this Corona second wave, of which peak still hasn't come. And I'm telling you, this is a conspiracy. There's an arms lobby in the world. When they saw India exporting BrahMos, LCAs, tanks, and what have you, they are out and out to undo us. There's a pharma lobby. When the COVID vaccine was made by us, world over, we reduced the trillions of dollars of trade. And there's an oil lobby. We have the highest number of charging stations coming up, which will reduce our oil consumption by 30%. So this kind of a thing, when India is doing well, there are powers to be, the arms lobby, the oil lobby, or the pharma lobby, they want to undo India. So please be very careful. This second wave is nothing but a conspiracy which has come probably from China in terms of a biological weapon, biological bombs. So all we can as citizens do, that whatever is our individual responsibility, we should try to break this chain of Corona just by small little precautions that we are supposed to take. That is, we have to wear a mask always. We have to ensure social distancing. We have to keep using sanitizers, keep washing our hands regularly, and making sure that people are enlightened about it. If you all can do this, you can tell people, preach this, I'm sure we'll be safe, we'll be safe. Otherwise, it's a collective war which we have to fight against whatever powers are, invisible powers, and it has been done on an asymmetric level with us, which we have to fight. So kindly ensure that you propagate these 3-4 small measures and few of these homeopathic, Ayurvedic, immunity boosting measures. If you can tell them, I'll be grateful. So with that, I thank you all for joining us at a wonderful discussion. And soon I'll be making small videos of this and putting on the YouTube, and links will be sent to you all. And I find a lot of new ladies and gentlemen who joined us for the first time. Kindly get in touch with me. We'll like to give you the notifications for the webinars, because seminars won't be possible. Though we tried doing on 9th of March, saying the inaugural one, but I guess we have to combat the second wave. And if we do not behave responsibility as citizens of this country, probably we will get the third wave as well. So getting into a seminar mode it's a while. So till then, on webinars, kindly remain in touch with us so that we can give you enough notification about them. Thank you very much. And once again, I thank Ambassador Partha who joined us, ladies and gentlemen, despite being Corona sick. He said, I'm feeling better, so I'll talk. Similarly, General Jamal, he's also feeling better, so he's talking. So I'm grateful to two gentlemen, despite your medical status, you chose to be here on this platform and enlightened us with your views. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a ton.